you don't usually get all your goals. In fact, you get maybe 30% of your goals if they're real goals. But you will ultimately in life always get your standards. So if you have a standard of doing one more, you have a goal to do a race, that's wonderful. Go do one of these races. Go crush it. Go finish. That's amazing. But when you're done with it, shift your standard. Have a higher standard. It becomes your lifestyle. It becomes who you are to do one more. It becomes who you are. You will eventually in life get the standard, not the goal. And the great ones at anything, their standards are higher. Their standard is just different than the average.
Welcome to the Spartan Up Podcast, hosted by Joe De Sena, founder and CEO of Spartan Race, and brought to you by withJoe.
We are talking about overcoming obstacles. The same way we teach people to get over obstacles on the course, we will teach you here on the Spartan Up Podcast to get over obstacles in your mind.
Get fully personalized healthcare based on your DNA, biometrics, and blood work with withJoe, the official healthcare provider of Spartan. Go to withJoe.com and use the code Spartan10 to save 10%. This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Titan Fitness, the official partner of Spartan North America. From sandbags to power racks. Visit TitanFitness.com and use the promo code Spartan to save 5% on your next order and get free shipping.
Joe De Sena here, CEO and founder of Spartan and the Spartan Up Podcast. I got a great one today. I got Ed Myeltt, entrepreneur. This guy is like the ultimate motivator. I mean, I see your stuff on Instagram, and I'm a pretty motivated guy. And when I see your stuff, I'm like fired up that I got to go do something.
Good. I'm glad I'm reaching you. It's about time.
How did you get into this? It just seems like you've done so well in life. Do you really need Instagram and all this nonsense?
No. In fact, I asked myself that, probably like you, I ask myself that on a regular basis. I definitely don't need it. But in fact, I got into it reluctantly. I enjoyed my privacy before. You know, I was always a speaker, but I liked being able to go home and be in private. And, you know, I've had a chance to coach a lot of well-known people, whether they're athletes or entertainers or political people. And I kind of knew I didn't want that. And then, so it was being willing to kind of become public was the hard part for me. And then, you know, you're putting your life on display every day. But the way that I got into it was just the encouragement of the people that I had coached. So like, hey, I think you can make a difference. I think your content's unique. Your viewpoint is sort of based in experience, not theory. You know, I had experienced these things. You know, I had some level of success doing the things I talk about. And so they thought, hey, man, you're pretty good at explaining it. You know, your voice is kind of deep. You'd probably be good at it. And then here we are 7 years later, and, you know, it's kind of taken off, kind of, so to speak. So here we are.
Careful what you wish for, right? Now it's like a noose a little bit.
Brother, it is. It's funny that we're talking about it because I think about it on a daily basis. It's like I sort of wake up oftentimes thinking, and this is the responsibility. Like, wow, now millions of people listen to me, and I got an obligation to grow and get better and, you know, create new things and have new thoughts and deliver. So there's a little bit of pressure involved in it. I'm sure there's some ego involved too, or like the attention that you get. I'm sure there's an element of that. So it's always in the back of my mind, you know, what I need to post or what I'm thinking about. And I won't do it forever. There's just no way that I will do this forever. Right now is the season of my life where I feel like I'm kind of in my prime. And I also feel like it's, for me at this stage, it's why I wrote the book. It's kind of my calling. Like I feel like it's what I'm supposed to be doing, is paying it forward and paying it back. And I'm a product of lots of great mentors and things I've learned from them. So while I can still remember all this stuff and while I've documented it, I ought to be able to say, hey, here's what I think you got to do. The book's called The Power of One More. I call it, sort of probably exaggerated, but the ultimate guide of happiness and success. So it's like my version of how to create more happiness and success in your life.
What was your superpower before you started doing this? Like what was your thing?
Well, I was an entrepreneur and I built businesses, as you know, and I spoke for a living, but I don't have that many superpowers. That's what's really interesting. So I've been able to parlay 2 or 3 gifts into some success. And ironically, those gifts come from my dad's drinking. The book is really about the power of my dad making a decision one more time to get sober. Me believing humans can change. I watched my hero do it. My dad lived the first 15 years of my life not well. Not a good dad, not a good dude, not a good husband. Made a decision, changed his life, and lived the next 35 years of my life magnificently, better than any human being I know. So I know humans can change. But my 2 skills, brother, are this. I'm present and I read people well. And the second thing I'm good at is communicating. And the presence is this. When I'm 5 years old, I got 3 little sisters and a dad. I had to figure out which dad was coming through that front door at 5. Because if it was drunk dad, I had to read him when he came through the front door. Is his tie tied? Is his hair messed up? How's he walking? How's he talking? What do his eyes look like? I'm this 5-year-old little boy looking up at my daddy, reading him. And I built this skill of being able to read him. I knew I actually got to the point, Joe, where I could tell by the sound the key made in the front door. If it went in real smooth and he came right in, he's probably sober. We're going to go play basketball. If he walked in and it was the staggering dad, sisters better get upstairs. Mom should go take a shower. And then my second skill would kick in. Changing my dad's state by speaking to him and talking about it with him and talking to him. And to this day, the 2 things I do pretty well is I read people very well. I'm present with them. And I know how to communicate to change their behavior. And I've parlayed that into, hundreds of millions of dollars in business, born out of really what was probably a really chaotic, tragic beginning of my childhood.
It is crazy how your environment as a kid hones some skills, which, right? Like I grew up around a bunch of mob bosses that you would not think added any value to my life. When I look back, same thing. I think they added some value. So dad stops cold turkey. How did that happen?
A chapter in the book called One More Try. My dad, and the theory is this. Most people, the Bible says, where there's no vision, the people will perish. I think most people have vision. I think they have a depth perception issue. I think they think it's way further away than it is. You know this. It's like one meeting, one decision, one encounter. It's not that you don't lay the bricks all your life, but for my dad, this one decision, here's what happened. I'm driving to a Little League game. I've never seen my dad cry in my life, brother, before or after this. And my dad, we're getting breakfast before. We're at Carl's Jr. getting breakfast at the drive-thru. And I'm looking at my dad, and I see his eyes are all watery. My dad was a dude, like right? A guy, like a man's man. I see this water in my dad's eyes. I'm like, what's going on? We get the food. He pulls over, and he doesn't look at me, but he kind of looks straight, and he goes, Eddie. I go, yeah, Daddy. He goes, I'm going to go try to quit drinking one more time. One more time. And I say as a kid, I go, what would be any different this time? And he goes, well, your mom's told me that I'm going to lose my family. I don't want to lose it gets all emotional. I don't want to lose my family. Then he looks at me and he goes, you deserve a father you can be proud of. And your mom deserves a husband she can respect. And I'm going to go try one more time. And it just dawned on me when I was writing the book, that's where one more try comes from. And then when he got sober, Joe, I'd go, Daddy, are you going to stay sober forever? And he goes, I don't know. I'm going to stay sober one more day. And I've used that, man. There's been many times in my business career I've wanted to quit. And I'm like, you know what? I won't quit one more day. I won't quit one more day. And so that one decision altered my family tree forever.
And Dad, you were just telling me before the pod, Dad unfortunately died last year.
Yeah, I was with my dad on his one last day. In fact, my dad called me, Joe. I didn't tell you this. He was in the hospital. It was COVID, so I would just sit down in the parking lot. He was in the hospital. And my dad, growing up, had my voice, deep voice. But then through cancer and treatment and stuff, he'd talk like this. And my dad calls me from the hospital. I'm downstairs in the parking lot. Come get me. Come get me. I want to go home. I said, you're not going home, man. We're going to get you another steroid shot. We're going to turn this around again. And I never forget this, brother. I haven't said this on any shows. Somewhere with you, I say stuff I don't usually say. He goes, I have one more day. I want to come home. I want to be in my home with your mom and you and your sisters. I called his doctor. I'm like, what's he talking about? Doc says, you should probably come get him. And we took him home that night, and he had one more day. And I was with him when he took one last breath. But it impacted me, Joe, in a really tremendous way. I realized what you don't worry about on that last day. What you won't be thinking about. And I also know what does matter. And what does matter is when you have that last day, man, did you become the man you were capable of becoming? Did you accomplish the things? Did you have the memories, the experiences, the moments, the emotions in your life, the difference you've made, or not? You ain't worried about a whole lot of this crap we all worry about every single day. And it was in that moment I went, you know what? I need to write a book about all this stuff I know, because guess what? I'm next. I'm next. And I don't know when. I don't know if it's a year from now or 25 years from now or 30 years from now. But I'm going to have that one more day at some point too. And I want to write down all the stuff I know about how to become more successful and happier. And I want to do better in my life. My dad lived a great life, man. He turned it around. There's a lot of people listening to this. They're like, man, I haven't done anything yet. I've got this thing I'm ashamed of. I've been divorced. I've had a failure, a bankruptcy. I'm just not motivated, whatever. My dad proves you can turn it around. Human beings can change at any point with one decision, one meeting, one podcast, one thought, one book, can shift things for you.
They say people don't change, but you saw it happen.
They do, and that's not true. You help people change. It's what you do on earth. It's what I do. So we both know that's bullshit. People do change for the better and the worse. The question is, do they have the tools to do it? I got 2 books I read, bro. I don't know why they're here. I got Think and Grow Rich, and I got my book, The Power of One More. And I like Think and Grow Rich. It's my favorite book other than my Bible. But here's the deal. You don't just think and get rich. You got to do things. And so I wrote a book about what do you need to think and do congruently that will create the change. What's the thought and then the mirrored action? How do you change your identity? How do you change your self-confidence? What habits do you have to have? How do you manage your time? What's equanimity? What's the matrix? What's the reticular activating system in your brain? I go through all these different things that are the thoughts and the actions that have produced whatever measly amount of success I've had is because of these things, because I did not grow up. You said when you're a kid, you learn a lot. You also get installed belief systems when you're a kid. Limiting beliefs. There's all kinds of child neglect in life. There's abuse, there's drinking, there's divorce, there's whatever. But there's also one big form of child neglect is a parent who's not pursuing their potential. You're neglecting your child when you do that because you're installing in them this pattern of settling, this pattern of not doing difficult things, this pattern of not outlasting the temporary. What I love in Think and Grow Rich is Napoleon Hill says, if you can outlast the temporary struggle you're going through, on the other side of that temporary, you get introduced to your other self. And this, we help people get introduced to their other selves, but you have to go through temporary pain to do it. Most people think the pain they're going through is permanent, and they're unwilling to sustain it and fight through it because they don't think it'll ever go away. But the truth is, nothing's permanent, including your body. My dad proved that. Nothing is permanent other than your soul. And so whatever you're going through is temporary. And if you get through it, you get another version of you. And actually, sometimes you get another life. You get a different life, a different existence on the other side of the temporary pain.
Your dad had another life. And I see so many people at our events that get a chance at another life.
Right.
But you got to put yourself through some struggle. Like you said, you got to. I like to say, you want to turn iron into steel, you got to heat it, you got to pound it, and you got to drown it.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
And
I have a chapter in the book. It's funny you say that. The one chapter I keep forgetting about. It's called One More Inconvenience. Most people look at a decision in a given day, they do the more convenient thing. And if you have a pattern of doing the convenient thing, you're going to have a pretty mediocre life. That's just the facts. But if you can get in the habit of being willing to do the inconvenient thing on a regular basis and attack it with the same enthusiasm that you do the convenient thing, now you're a beast. Now you're a monster. What you do extremely well is you get people to do inconvenient things. You help them do inconvenient things. It's the rarest thing in life right now, is willingness to do the inconvenient and actually look for the inconvenient thing to do. Pursue it. That's the rare person.
If you had a chance in the future, I'd love for you to interview my kids, because my second son said one day, Dad, it doesn't matter. You're just going to make us do more. More inconvenient things. I just keep throwing it.
Joe, I would love that, because we ought to do would be interesting. Do a joint podcast with both our kids.
Yeah.
Because my kids always tell them, I have a whole thing in the book on self-confidence, and I'm like, look, self-confidence is a relationship and a reputation with yourself. If you have a pattern of keeping the promises you make to yourself regularly, you'll develop self-confidence. But if you want to be a beast, not only will you keep the promises you make to yourself, just what you just said, you'll do one more. So when you say you're going to go to the gym and do 30 minutes on the treadmill, you do one more minute. When you're going to do 10 reps, you do 11. When you're going to make 10 phone calls in a day, you do one more. When you're going to tell your daughter you love her once a day, you tell her one more time. You start stacking up one mores, and now you're not just self-confident. You have built an identity that is somebody who can achieve almost anything.
It's so funny you say, and the book is perfect timing for me. We have a lot of people, as you know, working around the world, and we're trying to come out of COVID, right? no surprise, Spartan has struggled tremendously. It's amazing. It's amazing I'm alive as an individual. It's amazing our company's alive. And I always think like those 400 or 500 people around the globe, if they did one less thing today, that's 500 less things I got done today. That's 2,500 less things I got done this week. Like very quickly, you got a business.
So
right?
true, bro. So true. And stack it in reverse.
Yeah.
Right. Stack it in reverse. You're a different human when you do more. And the truth of the matter is most people aren't willing to do it. And that's why there's room to win. Here's the truth. Most people would just rather have more fun. And you and I have learned one thing. I quote this in the beginning of the book. I think it's true. I think winning is more fun than fun is fun.
I like that a lot. You'll love this.
Winning is more fun than fun is fun. And I tell my son this all the time. I'm like, hey, man, you want to go have fun and go to the bar with your buddies on the team, or you want to win some golf tournaments? You want to win some golf tournaments? What's more fun? He goes, Dad, way more fun to win a golf tournament. I'm telling you, winning is more fun than fun is fun. And you got to accept that in your life.
Here's one for you. I was in a gym 6 months ago in a hotel. I had like 10 minutes to kill.
We all know that fruits and vegetables are great for us, but how much do you need to take in order to reap the benefits? Hi, I'm Dr. Julie Fouché from Wild Health. A 2017 study showed that individuals who took in 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables per day had the greatest risk reduction when it comes to cardiovascular disease, cancer, and dying from any cause. So how much is 8 to 10 servings? Well, a serving is about 80 grams by weight, or one piece of fruit or one vegetable. There are some easy ways to try to incorporate more fruits and vegetables throughout the day. So one would be starting your day off with a smoothie. Throw in 3 to 5 servings there to start your day on the right foot. Make sure that you chop up all of your vegetables at the beginning of the week. That way it's easy to throw in for snacks or to use for your meals. And finally, think about joining a local CSA. It's a great way to try new fruits and vegetables that you may not have tried before. So give it a shot. It's not that hard, just 8 to 10 servings. You can do it.
Wild Health, the official healthcare provider of Spartan. We'll be right back to this conversation, but first a word from today's sponsor, Titan Fitness, the official partner of Spartan North America. From sandbags to power racks, Titan provides the equipment you need to prepare for the race of a lifetime. Titan customers come from all walks of life, from elite athletes to weekend warriors. Whether you're training in a commercial gym, a home gym, or in the great outdoors, Titan's fitness products help you prepare for the race of your life. They provide a variety of equipment, from battle ropes to power racks to sandbags and dumbbells. Everyone deserves a chance to be stronger, fitter, and healthier, and Titan is here to help. Visit TitanFitness.com and use the promo code SPARTAN to save 5% off your next order and get free shipping. One more time, that's TitanFitness.com with the promo code SPARTAN.
Here's one for you. I was in a gym 6 months ago in a hotel. I had like 10 minutes to kill. I was probably doing the one more thing. Like, I got 10 minutes. I can get a quick workout in. I was in there working out, and a guy comes walking in, got a military hat on, 25 years old, so more of a kid. And he says, oh, my God, Mr. De Sena, somehow, in this random place in New Hampshire, he knew me. Yep. We start talking. What happened to your leg or whatever? He says to me, you know what I learned from you? I said, what? He said, save the fun for later. I go, that is awesome.
I love that.
Isn't that great? Save the fun for later.
I love that.
I was coming down to Orlando, and one of my friend's kids said, oh, great, Joe's going to Disney. What's he going to do, take all the fun out of it? Right? But like you said, winning is more fun than fun.
It's a fact.
I'm psyched for this book to come out. When's it come out?
June 1st.
June 1st, we're going to have the book, and we can get it anywhere, I assume.
You can get it anywhere. I got a website called thepowerofonemore.com, but you can go get the book anywhere you want to get a book. And here's the thing. It's really weird. You've done it. Weird when you got a book. You're like, yeah, I want to say a bunch of good stuff about my book because you write it, you believe in it or whatnot. But, like, I'm probably not going to do this again. It's hard. It's hard. I kind of put it in one book. It's probably too much for most people. It's real heavy. There's a lot of details in it. But if there's an area of your life you want to get better in or happier in, you'll figure it out in my book.
Ed, I'm sure you agree with this. You don't want to get the book. You don't feel like reading the whole book. It really is as simple as do one more. Right?
Yep.
Do one more. But no one does it.
No one does it, and you'll be so unique. You'll build a reputation with yourself and an identity that will change you. And it's really interesting because you and I, we become friends over the years and knew each other from a distance for a while. But it is really bizarre how common our philosophy is. Yeah. We phrase things very similarly, and we have very similar belief systems. And so if you're a fan of either one of ours, know, like, this is something that you're going to get in life from anyone who's successful. Take anyone that you think is successful. I use all kinds of different examples in the book. But I'll put it to you this way. I don't think Tom Brady's the most athletic dude who's ever played quarterback in my life. But I can tell you this. There ain't anybody who's done more than one more in football in his entire career than Brady has. And anybody you think is great at anything, they've just built this habit. And the last thing I'll say, brother, do you want to know the power of what one more can give you? What if I took it from you? You can't do it. So I'll give you one example. My dad, since we've talked about my dad. My favorite thing, man, was to golf with my old man. Okay? Neither one of us are good golfers. But it was 5 hours with my dude, sitting in the golf cart. And we'd argue about politics and life, and we'd talk deep stuff, but do you know what I would give for one more round of golf with my dad? You know what I would give? One more conversation with that man? About anything. How precious one more is in your life, you only appreciate when it's gone.
It's got so many meanings, this idea of one more. My mom lost her mom, and I remember I was probably 7 or 8 years old. I was sitting by her side on the couch. I remember it in Queens, New York. And she said exactly what you just said. She said, Joseph, she called me Joseph. She said, if I could get one more day with my mother, I'd give my right arm. And so if you're 7 or 8 years old, and you're like, I couldn't even process that, right? You'd give your right arm for one more day, but I get it.
Yeah. So there's power. The value in having the opportunity and the blessing to do it is right in front of everyone. And it's your decision to do it. You got to be willing to do hard stuff. So if you don't want to get the book, do one more. And you'll do one more, and you'll come back and thank both of us in a long time from now that your life is better and different.
I try to tell people not to come back to the race because this is about your book. But I try to tell people doing one event doesn't change your life because a lot of people just one and done and they go back to their old habits. But I found, and we've had 10 million people do, like, if you do 3, it takes up your whole year, and before you know it, most likely your habits have changed. And so you just gave me an idea. I'll have to tie it to your book on the website somewhere. Just do one more, do one more race. Just do one more.
Fact, though. You're exactly right. That's why sustained greatness is so rare. Because here's the thing. I talk about this in the book. I have a whole chapter on standards. You don't usually get all your goals. In fact, you get maybe 30% of your goals if they're real goals. But you will ultimately in life always get your standards. So if you have a standard of doing one more, you have a goal to do a race. That's wonderful. Go do one of these races. Go crush it. Go finish. That's amazing. But when you're done with it, shift your standard. Have a higher standard. It becomes your lifestyle. It becomes who you are to do one more. It becomes who you are. You will eventually in life get the standard, not the goal. And the great ones at anything, their standards are higher. Their standard is just different than the average.
So I go to Croatia. We have a new business in Croatia. And I meet these 2 brothers that are rowers, 2-man boat rowers, the best in the world. I'm getting chills. All the world records, they get gold medals everywhere they go. Their coach is you and me times 50. He's amazing. Is that right? Okay?
It's amazing.
So they're telling me the story in their broken English, and they come out of Japan. They just got the gold medal in Japan, and they, it's been like 7 years of medals, right? They win everything, and they just want to get a bottle of champagne, and the coach gives them 4.5 minutes with the champagne. Back in the boat, we're going back to training. One more time, it just
I love it because it's the standard. By the way, have you had the Iron Cowboy on, the guy who did the 100 ultra marathons on?
I haven't had him on. No.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
I do. Yep.
Okay, so this guy did 100 ultra marathons in 100 days. So I have him on the show. First thing I said, what did you listen to when you were doing the marathons? He goes, I was actually listening to your podcast. And then I said, what's your favorite one? He goes, the one with the Spartan Race guy.
No.
Right? No, it's true. You can see it on my show.
Oh, that's
and then I said, what did you do after you completed the 100 ultra? Imagine this, guys. So you're talking about a full marathon, like a 130-mile bike, I don't know, like a bazillion-mile swim, 100 freaking days in a row.
You don't even know how the story's intertwined, but keep going, then I'll tell you.
Okay. So I say, what did you do the next day? He goes, I did one more. I go, bullshit. He goes, no, I did one more ultramarathon the next day. That's the power. That's the standard.
So now I'll tell you the story of what one less means so that everybody learns to do one more. So I get this crazy, I was in a bad car accident in 2004. I was thrown out the window of the car. My leg was ripped out of my hip. And I was no longer able, I can't say no longer able, my new wife, was not allowing me to go do these crazy races anymore because the risk was that my femur comes out of my hip, I'm in the woods somewhere, and she loses her new husband. So I get a brainstorm that night because I can't imagine a life without doing these crazy races. And a friend of mine says, let's start doing Ironman races. That's what the Iron Cowboy was known for. And I really wasn't I was doing really long distance races, like 14, 15 day long races. Ironmans were half a day. So I said, okay, we're going to do every Ironman in the world in a row. That was our goal. I needed something to get my mind off the fact that I was now, on crutches and my leg was screwed up. So we start doing these Ironmans. And I'm about 14 Ironmans in. And my wife is pregnant, 8 months pregnant with our first child at the finish line. We're in Switzerland. She's losing her mind. I thought we were having a family. Who is this guy? Why are we doing this? And behind me, I hear some guy talking about doing 50 Ironmans in a row.
It's this guy.
And I hear it between my wife being upset, between hearing that, I did one less.
And by the way, I'm so glad you corrected me. It's Ironmans, not ultramarathons, dummy.
And so I literally just quit. I was like, I can't compete with that.
Yeah, the dude did 50, and then he came back a couple years later and did 100 Ironmans in a row. I don't know why I said ultramarathon. That's silly. But yeah, Ironmans.
Well, listen, you're awesome. We got to get together in person at some point.
I'd love that. Hey, I'm out in New England a lot now, so we'll do that. I'll tell you about it offline, but I would love to come see you.
Yeah, just hit me up anytime you're on this side. I'll hit you up if I'm on that side.
Do you know someone who needs a little help staying motivated, staying informed, getting or staying mentally and physically resilient? We're here 3 days every week with a mix of content to help you stay strong. From mindset to nutrition and everything in between. Listen every Tuesday to hear Joe De Sena, Spartan Race founder and CEO. And the rest of the week, join us for DECA, Endurance, and Classic episodes. See you next time. This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Titan Fitness, the official partner of Spartan North America. From sandbags to power racks. Visit TitanFitness.com and use the promo code SPARTAN to save 5% on your next order and get free shipping. Maximize energy, optimize nutrition, and improve performance with Wild Health. Personalized precision healthcare built for Spartans. You'll get a personalized health plan based on your DNA and biometrics and the support of a team of health experts. Sign up at wildhealth.com with the code SPARTAN10 to save 10%.